What's up, guys? So, I know I haven't made a video in a very long time, and I'm so sorry. I think the last video I made, I said, "Oh, guys, I'm going to make a video soon, I promise." And it's been like 3 months, so I'm so sorry. But anyways, yes, I can see, by the way, for any people asking, can you see? Um, But so some of you guys have been requesting for me to make a top five favorite band list, so that is what I'm going to do. So without further ado, here you guys go. Number 5, Black Veil Brides. Also, just FYI, this list isn't in any sort of order, so it's not like least favorite to favorite, so just to let you guys know. But Black Veil Brides, I got into them when I was about 15 years old, and I was going through a difficult time, not being very popular in school, and just nothing was really going right, and I kind of I just started to get into them. I saw Knives and Pens on YouTube, and I could really relate to the message of that song and the meaning behind it. And I just started to get into the band, and I really liked their message. And they're still one of my favorite bands. I don't listen to them as much, but I do still really admire them. Number 4, Anthrax. Okay, so Anthrax is another good one that I got into when I was about 15. So I had heard their song Indians actually on Guitar Hero. Um, and so I really started to get into that song. And then my dad heard me listening to that song. And he was kind of like an 80s metalhead. Okay, he was an 80s metalhead, but he heard me listening to that. And he's like, oh, dude, that's awesome. You're listening to Anthrax? And basically, he showed me some more songs by them. Then eventually, I bought their State of Euphoria album, and I just thought it was so great. And they're just a really great band. They're probably my favorite out of the big four. If you don't know what the big four is, it's basically four metal groups: Metallica, Anthrax, Megadeth, and Slayer. But they're probably my favorite out of the big four. Moving on to number 3. Number 3, Muse. Okay, guys, I'm just gonna tell you, Muse is probably one of the most creative, most amazing bands that we have in this day and age. They honestly are on par, and they really remind me of another band I'm going to mention on this list, which is going to come up. But I got into Muse when I was about 13 years old. I heard their song Uprising on the radio, and I was such a rebellious 13-year-old. I was like, oh, the government, and I just, how normal teenagers are. And it just got me so riled up. And then I actually received their Resistance album on my birthday, and it was just so amazing. It was one of the most just different out there things I had ever heard, and I just really started to get into them. And I had a big Muse phase for a while where I would listen to nothing but Muse, and it was crazy. But if you haven't listened to Muse, I honestly would highly recommend you do check them out because they are a great band. I honestly don't really know what to compare them to besides number 2. Number 2, Pink Floyd. Okay, so this band, what can I say about Pink Floyd other than this hair should really get out of my okay, what should I say about Pink Floyd? They are legendary. Are they overhyped? Somewhat. Are they a talented band? Hell yes. So I got into Pink Floyd, I can't even remember. I would say when I was about 16. I listened to The Dark Side of the Moon. That was the first album I got into. And then The Wall. Funny thing is, my stepdad would always listen to Pink Floyd while we went camping. I was pretty oblivious to it. I just kind of fell asleep. But then as I got older, I started to really appreciate them as a band and started to listen to them. So it was Dark Side of the Moon, then The Wall, and those two albums were great. I listened to the Final Cut. Then I just started listening to all of their albums, and honestly, most of their albums are amazing. And I think that the most underrated album from Pink Floyd, though, has to be Piper at the Gates of Dawn. That was their debut album, and it featured the original leader of the band, Syd Barrett. So if you don't know much about Syd, he was the lead guitar and the lead singer of Pink Floyd. Um, he did most of the guitar and the vocals for Piper at the Gates of Dawn. and then due to mental illness he had to leave the band, and that's when David Gilmour came in, and he pretty much saved the band. I mean, some people would argue that he ruined the band, but I think he made the band even better. But Sid is a very, very, very curious anomaly. He's very he was just very, people described him as very charismatic, very, he was just a leader. And if you haven't, he has some solo stuff that he did, and his solo stuff I think is great. It's probably, I don't know what to call it, folk rock. I'm not sure, but Sid was very enigmatic. I can't even, my words today. Ugh. But Sid was great, and I think Pink Floyd just has such a haunting history. You could really hear, hear the struggle, especially in Wish You Were Here. That album has to do with the band sort of drifting apart, and the loss of Sid in the band. And they're just a very deep band, and I really highly recommend them. Now moving on to number one. Number one, Team 10. Honestly, what can I say? These guys just have changed music altogether. It's just, this isn't a joke. They're honestly probably my favorite. They honestly saved my life. They're just amazing. I seriously love them. I seriously do. They're just so amazing. I just, no, no, no. They are not number one. Okay, let's get down to the real number one. Number one, Nirvana. Honestly, what can I say about Nirvana? They're friggin' awesome. Honestly, they changed the music industry, and they brought grunge and punk into the mainstream. Now, I know Nirvana isn't exactly punk, but I do think that their album Bleach is probably the punkiest and grungiest you could probably go. And yes, I am aware that grunge is a mix of punk and metal, kind of combined. I just really love the rawness of Nirvana. I love how they were so real. I love that their music just, it's so angsty, and they really sound great live, and I just think they're a really great band. And yes, I especially love their song "Smells Like Teen Spirit." What else do they have for song? I don't really know any other songs. Just "Smells Like Teen Spirit." It's super great. No, I'm just kidding, you guys. um, I don't know honestly which album is my favorite, because yes, Nevermind is the most commercially successful, and it does have a lot of songs that I like. Like, I think my all-time favorite Nirvana song probably has to be Drain You. I love that song. But then again, I love In Utero. It's just, honestly, I think In Utero is just kind of more of a superior album, and I'm not trying to be hipster. Bleach doesn't really get a lot of love. I mean, I think it should. I mean, it was great for, I guess, for them not being super big. But I just love Nirvana. They're a great band. I got into them when I was about 17, so pretty late, but I just really love them, and I think that Chris Novoselic is a great bass player. I think he's very underrated. I think that, and I know Dave is a great drummer, and I think that Kurt is, great vocalist, but I think that Chris, the guy in the middle in that picture, I think that he is very underrated as a bass player and as a band member. He doesn't really get a lot of recognition, a lot of the limelight, and I think he should, because he was just great. He's a funny guy, and it really sucks when Kurt killed himself. You could really see the just kind of the fun guy go away, and I mean, I can't blame him. I mean, if my friend killed himself, I'd be pretty sad too. Some people think Courtney killed Kurt. I'm not gonna get into that. I'm not gonna put my opinion out there. This is just my top 5 favorite bands. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like down, thumbs up down below. That'd be super awesome. And be sure to comment what your favorite bands are, if you liked any of these bands. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm not going to say I'm going to make a new video soon, because last time we all know how that went down. I made a new video and then said I'd make one soon, and it's been 3 months, but I will try to make a video as soon as I can. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and peace out.